Elise and I are getting ready to talk with Shawn Johnson East. She's an Olympic gold medalist. She's won world championships. She's won Dancing with the Stars. And
That's cool.
She's just an incredible person. Honestly, what impresses me the most about her wasn't that she won an Olympic gold medal, but it was that she chose not to go to the Olympics 4 years later.
I wasn't expecting that.
The reason I think that that's so significant is why she chose not to continue on. And it was her trying to be true to herself. We told Shawn that we wanted to talk to her about having a healthy perspective about athletics. And I think she's such a good example of this because she's been so honest about her struggles.
She sounds like a really good person to learn from.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Welcome to J House, where we interview people we admire who have developed skills and created cool things. We want to learn from their experiences to inspire us in our lives.
We're now going to go to our conversation with Shawn Johnson East.
How did you get into gymnastics?
How did I get into gymnastics? Okay, so I was 3 years old, and I was this super, super crazy kid. I had way too much energy. I walked at 9 months. I scared my parents because I told them that I could fly, and I would jump off of furniture, and I would crack my head open all the time. I was just this kid that needed an outlet for my energy. So they put me in gymnastics when I was 3 years old, and I felt like superhuman. I thought it was the coolest sport in the world, and just kind of stuck with it through that.
You could fly into the pit without breaking any bones.
Yes.
So at what age and at what time did it go from gymnastics as this cool hobby I do to, whoa, we could do Olympics? You know, when did that happen and how did that change your life at that point?
I never thought that I could make the Olympics. And I had a coach who strategically kind of kept it that way. It was always, let's focus on today. Let's focus on getting to the next level. Let's focus on achieving your your next skill. Don't worry about things that are years down the road. Don't worry about whatever. You can have dreams, but let's worry about step by step. And I remember when I was 12 years old, year after year, I had progressed one level. And going from the age of 12 to 13, my next level jump was to the Olympic level. Wow. And I remember being like, Coach, what do I do? I'm not going to make the Olympics. That's not possible for me. And he's like, we're going to do what we've always done. We're going to take one more step. And it was honestly just this crazy realization. This is going to sound weird, but I remember standing on the Olympic podium wearing an Olympic medal and the competition was over. And I was like, there's no way I just competed at the Olympics. This can't be real. How did this happen? And it was this beautiful process of my coach, my parents made sure I could always be a kid. And I always loved gymnastics. And it just, I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, we were watching your interview on Ellen before, you went to the Olympics and you talked about how you did go to the dances at school and you went to public school. And it sounds like your parents and your coach really did that great job of letting you have a childhood up to that point, which is exciting.
They did. So my parents had a really interesting kind of upbringing, and their goal in life as parents was to raise just a normal child that had a normal childhood and that was a kid. And then it was also an interesting match because my coach, and we didn't go searching for coaches. He was just the closest gym to our house. He was a Chinese world champion in China, and when he was 3 years old, the government took him away from his family, and he was kind of made to work, groomed, yes. And his dream from the time he was little was he wanted to move to America and have the American dream to raise kids in gymnastics that loved the sport, that were also children, that had a childlike life, but were also successful. And so it was a really important.
Goosebumps because I know Coach Chow then went to China for the 2008 Olympics, and you were there as his, protege to win the gold medal. That's just such a beautiful story in and of itself.
It gave me goosebumps going back because he was like my second dad, and I knew everything he had gone through, and it was actually the first time he had ever been back to China. And he said he gave up everything to leave his country and to be able to go back and be successful. It was just, I felt really proud.
What were the hard parts of going up to the Olympics?
The hard parts about getting to the Olympics was probably the time commitment and the sacrifice. So it was a lot of really, really hard practices. I would train 25 hours a week from the time I was 8 or 9 years old. Um, a lot of injuries, a lot of, tears and frustrations. But in the end, like when I got to the Olympics and when I achieved that goal, it was this realization of like, if you put in the hard work, all of those sacrifices are worth it. And I wouldn't change it for anything.
Tell us about some of those injuries. I mean, I've read about you competing on broken shins, and there had to have been some broken ribs, and just in general, falling hurts when you're on a balance beam, I would guess. I've never been brave enough to try that. But tell us a little bit more about falling and the consequences of that and what it took to get up again after you fell.
I actually think that's one of the most beautiful things about the sport of gymnastics, and one of the reasons why I want to put my daughter in it as a young girl and as like a young kid. And I think kids in general should do at least a year of it, is because it's the most humbling sport. You have to fall on the beam, you have to fall on your face, you truly have to fail at every skill a million times before you ever succeed. But I remember as a kid being 4 years old and learning a cartwheel and falling and falling and falling. And when I finally got it for the first time, it was this euphoric, just like, I did it. And I felt like I was on top of a mountain. And like, if you progress later on down the sport, when the skills get more dangerous and the consequence gets to be bigger, the euphoria gets bigger. So like once you succeed, it's awesome. But I competed on stress fractured shins. I had shin splints that had gotten to the point where they were stress fractures. And yeah, there were some extreme ones, but.
What did you learn about yourself?
What did I learn about myself? Oh my gosh, that I, and along with every other person in the entire world, you're so much stronger than you believe. If you truly find a passion in something and you love something, you can push through anything and you can get through any obstacle if your heart's there.
When Kendra and I were talking about talking to you, Kendra was saying how that's such an unimaginable dream. It's like unattainable. How big is that piece of it? What you were just talking about of just saying, you can do this. You can push yourself little by little to get there.
To talk to someone who's like done it, which sounds weird. And it sounds weird to even think that I went to the Olympics, but to sit where I am and look back and know what I was thinking when I was 5 years old and 6 years old and 10 years old. And I was like, there's no way I could ever be on TV. There's no way I could ever be an Olympic gymnast. To know that like I did it with that mentality truly makes me like want to reiterate to every single person in the world that you can do it. I think my coach had the most beautiful strategy of like making one goal every single day, whether it's to do a cartwheel 5 times or to do a somersault 5 times. But every single day we just made these little goals, and every time that I would achieve it, it would be like, okay, I'm one step closer. And you end up finding yourself on an Olympic stage. So
it's incredible.
Shawn Johnson in her first year as a senior gymnast.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The last pass. Double pike, hits it. Wow.
Incredible. The 15-year-old from West Des Moines, Iowa. I hate to say it, but the media is always looking for the it girl. Well, guess who's it?
Shawn Johnson.
From the United States of America, Shawn Johnson.
Shawn Johnson becomes only the 4th American woman to win the all-around world championship.
So Elise, I want you to imagine this. In a couple of years, say you're 15 years old, you win everything. It's your rookie year. You win the world championship and you get to go on Ellen, you go on Oprah, and everyone is saying you're going to win 4 gold medals at the Olympics. How would you feel inside with all of that happening?
I would feel a lot of pressure. Like I'd be scared if I didn't win all those. It would be like everybody would be like disappointed. And yeah.
So Elise, you summed up my entire Olympic competition. My biggest fear going into the Olympics was disappointing people. And I think especially now looking back at myself as a kid at the Olympics, I didn't have the mental capability and, just room to comprehend that it was for me and it wasn't for someone else. So when I competed almost out of fear of disappointing people. And it was funny how the Olympics panned out because I had 5 competitions where I had the chance to win a medal. And I went through 4 of them and I won silver, 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 silver. And it was really scary to me because after every single competition, it just magnified this feeling that I was disappointing the world and I was disappointing my parents and my coaches and myself. And by the time I got to that last competition, I was so tired and so exhausted of carrying that weight and of feeling like I had disappointed people, and I just gave up. Like my entire heart just gave up. And I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I don't care what I place. I don't care how I do. I just want to get this over with. And I kind of got rid of all that weight. And then I won a gold medal, which was comical because it was the first time as a kid, as a 16-year-old kid, I had realized that it wasn't about doing it for other people.
I think it's interesting in the nature of human experience. Had you gone in at a 15-year-old and barely made the Olympic team, everything would have been so different if you had won 4 silvers and then a gold medal. But because you dominated your 15-year-old year, now there was all these crushed feelings. How do we find a healthy balance between appropriate expectations without it crushing us? If, you won 5 gold medals. You won 5 Olympic medals, but you were crushed. What's the healthy balance there?
So again, going back to my coach, he was wise but beyond his years, and it took me 28 years to actually listen to him. But he had this ritual that we did after every single competition that I want to teach my daughter. And every single time I would compete, I would go through the awards ceremony. I would get my medals or my ribbons, or I wouldn't get medals or ribbons. And he would say, okay, he would sit me down. He'd say, how do you think vault went? Like, I don't care about the medal. I don't care that you won gold. I don't care that you didn't place, whatever. He said, how did you do? Based off of your performances and based off of your practices, how did it stack up? And I would have to give him an honest answer. I'd be like, you know what? It wasn't my best vault today. And he's like, okay, even though you're wearing a gold medal, I want you to remember that it wasn't your best. And then he'd say, okay, how did you do on bars? And I would say, I did my best performance in the past year, but yet I didn't place. And he's like, I need you to hold on to that feeling of you did your best. And we did this after every competition, and it kind of just got into a routine of, yes, there's always going to be people who judge you and score you and give you those awards or not. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is how you feel you did. And if you can truly walk away from anything and say, I gave my all and I gave my best and I couldn't do any better than that, then nothing else should matter. So I went through those silver medals and the golds. My coach sat me down. We talked about it. And I was like, you know what? The all around was my best performance I've ever given. I'm happy with the silver because this is my best. The beam, I was like, you know what? That was not my best performance, but I got a gold. So I could do better, coach.
So kind of a more focus on measuring against yourself rather than what the world or others are saying is the outcome of your performance.
Absolutely.
If you liked what you heard, we'd love for you to leave a podcast review. To follow along on our family's adventures, connect with us at J-House Vlogs on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thanks for listening. J-House out.